Gotta wait for Bob anyway. Here he comes. Really feel you're gonna be late? Will he late? This is your first meeting? Mr. Keith, we're gonna move real fast. Do I hear him? Oh, here he comes. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Keith. We appreciate it. If we could call public service to order, if I could get a motion approval on our previous meeting minutes from December 9th.
Motion for approval.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, we have three pieces before us today. The first one is Director of Public Service to enter into an agreement and/or legislation with the Ohio Director of Transportation for certain improvements on US 224 and declaring an emergency. Mr. Leto?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the committee. This is our final piece. We brought this legislation before we signed that will authorize the service director to enter an agreement with ODOT to improve Waterloo Road from Kelly all the way to Hilbish. So it's a resurfacing project.
Resurfacing, okay.
It's about a mile and a half.
Okay. Any questions from committee members? Any questions from council? What's your pleasure, Mr. Leto?
Consent is fine.
And can I get a motion for consent?
Motion for consent.
All in favor? Our next piece is resolution declaring it necessary to improve Ascot Parkway from State Road to the dead end, resulting in a cul-de-sac by constructing, paving, grading, curbs, driveway approaches, storm sewers, sanitary sewers, emergency. Mr. Leto?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the committee. Yes, this is a full improvement of the main Ascot Parkway, the industrial park up there off of State Road all the way to the end where the cul-de-sac is. So this piece of legislation will allow our assessment estimates to the property owners. This is the first piece. We will come back after we do this piece of legislation with the construction and the estimates of the costs.
Is this Ascot Parkway, is it up where we buck against Cauga Falls? Is that am I
Yes,
correct?
Yes.
right across from the post office on State Road. There is where Ascot Parkway is.
Okay.
And it goes all the way through.
Okay. Any questions from committee members? Council? What's your pleasure?
Consent is fine.
Motion for consent.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Our last piece, ordinance approving and confirming the appointments of Steve Fricker and Councilperson Sharon Connor as trustees to the Summit Akron Solid Waste Management Authority and Robert Harris as respective alternates for terms ending February 28, 2022 and declaring an emergency. Mr. Leto?
This is the appointment of two new board members to replace Diane Miller-Dawson and Zach Milkovich. So they are on the, as you know, Summit Re works with many jurisdictions on the recycling to improve not only the recycling program that we have, but to reduce waste throughout the whole region.
Right, okay. Okay, any questions from committee members? Council, pleasure?
Consent's fine.
Can I get a motion for consent?
Motion for consent.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And we have nothing else coming. You have a question? I have a question for Mr. Neal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know last year we asked the question about trying to get an understanding of
the procurement contracts and the minority breakdown. And I know you've been working on that. With us starting off on a new year, putting together our capital budget, if can ask, please, sir, so that we can track that from this council stand, the capital budget, and looking at the millions of dollars that we're getting ready to appropriate. And the thought came through my mind, and we've talked about the importance of the Elevate Akron report. You know, we talk about that being a mandate, but we have no way of being able to measure how successful we are creating opportunities for small minority-owned businesses, more specifically black businesses. If we can just get a report on where we are, I know Karen, I believe, letting people know about what contracts are out there and what opportunities are there, but if we can know where we are with these types of contracts, I mean, there's certain things, we've talked about this, the pipe breaks and things that always happen in the city, but if we can be intentional, and it'll help us as a county to help you really hit the mark on making sure that we're creating opportunity for everybody, I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
If there's nothing else coming before us, we are adjourned.
make sure you don't take off and go smoke a cigarette. I want to make sure I got you in that chair. I think your clock's 2:16.
What time you got?
2:14.
All right. See, I got 2:13.
2:13.
All right, Bob. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and call public safety meeting to order, please. Present, and we actually have some new present members on the public safety committee that are new. Samples, Malik and McKittrick. Swirsky is a returning member. So last meeting we did have was December 16th of last year. Minutes, please.
Motion for approval.
I have a motion and a second by Malik. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, thank you. We have two new pieces in front of us today. Our first piece is an ordinance authorizing the purchasing agent without the formality of advertising for bid or contracts with the Cuyahoga Falls Police Department for the use of its training center and range by the City of Akron Police Department's Training Academy and declare an emergency. And we have with us our Deputy Mayor of Public Safety, Charlie Brown.
Thank you. I'd like to also Mr. McKittrick and Mr. Malik for the service in advance. This particular piece is $15,000 for 2020, another $15,000 for 2021 for the Cuyahoga Falls range. This particular piece allows us to go and something that's a little bit closer. So we would ask if it is your favor of the committee to suspend the rules.
All right,
And if there's any questions, tomorrow I'll give them a cozy.
All right, Captain, thanks for joining us. Before we entertain the motion to suspend the rules, let's see if there's any questions. Any questions from committee members? We have one from Councilman Malik.
Where had they been doing training previously to this?
Previously, we used the Summit County Sheriff's Office Training Center range, and that's still open. However, it's 40 minutes to get there and get set up. It's also considerably more expensive than use theirs.
Let me supplement also what the captain said. We also use the University of Akron's indoor range as well, which is also expensive.
Good question, thanks. Any other council members on the committee? Councilman Swirsky, please.
Just a quick comment, good collaboration, good use, way to save the taxpayers a little bit of money.
Thank you, Councilman Swirsky.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the committee members on public safety? No? Any other council members in the chambers? All right, we have Councilwoman Omobian.
Curious, since we have so many partnerships with the University of Akron, did we get a discount, or, because I'm just curious as to.
We pay an hourly fee to use the University of Akron range, And we will use the University of Akron range from time to time, especially so that we can accommodate the training at different hours of the day. But we do that hour to hour rather than full days at a time.
How much is it per hour? How much is it per hour? I see this one fee in
The
here.
University of Akron, I don't have that with me, ma'am.
Okay, but it's lower than, no, I'm just curious, because again, we do so much with the University of Akron and have so many partnerships.
Well, their range would, for the amount of time that we would need it, we do use them from time to time and for various training, but it won't be available to us as much as this one will to accommodate our schedule. We have a training class started now, our academy class, at a time.
I see.
And we can't get 4 days at a time at the University of Akron range.
So $600 per 8 hour, per day,
Yes.
essentially, is what we are paying Cauca Falls.
Correct.
Okay. And what would we pay in Green?
$850 a day with Summit County. Start our basic academy alone this year. We will, just this one academy, we'll save about $4,500 just
Oh,
by
I
going to
thought you were
Colorado,
saying
plus
it was
time.
more, but it's less.
Yes.
It's less. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other questions or comments with council members? All right, with that, I know wants to entertain the suspension of the rules. Can I get a motion for that?
Second.
I have a motion and a second by Swirsky. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, we'll pass that this evening. Thank you. All right, we do have one more piece in front of us. This legislation is Councilman Mike Freeman. Resolution opposing the parole of convicted murderer Arkma, if I pronounce that right, Sales, and urging the Ohio Parole Board to deny his request for release and declare an emergency. And count on this, please.
Thank you, Mr. Kamer. We have something before us that we've passed multiple times before whenever this individual does come up for parole. Unfortunately, this gentleman that this resolution, free man. He was a free man despite the fact he had an extensive record, had assaulted police officers, burglaries, armed robbery, theft, and September 16th, 1979, he chose to take the life of wanted to be a dear friend and a dear sister in the faith. His parole hearing will be coming up soon, and asking if we could pass this out this evening to the Corrections Board. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Any questions regarding this from committee members? Any council members in chambers? All right, well, I'm guessing, I can't remember if you asked for suspension of the rules. All right, I'll make that motion to suspend the rules. Can I get a second by Malik? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, that passes, and we'll pass that this evening. Thank you, Councilman, and we're adjourned. Thanks.
scheduled for 3 p.m., aren't I?
Your rules, that's how.
Call the rules meeting to order. Do we have, you gave me the minutes, correct?
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Have a motion and a second, and we do have all members present.
That's our heating system talking to us.
All right, we have one item, and this is a resolution acknowledging the service and dedication of Congressman John Lewis, wishing him well and for a speedy recovery, and declaring an emergency. And I'm going to ask the sponsor if she would please address this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I think everybody knows Congressman John Lewis. If you don't, please go to your website to read about him. Such an outstanding congressman and public servant, person who has been in public service since the 60s and has done some remarkable work for his community and for our whole country. He was recently announced some devastating news about his health, that he is in the late stage of pancreatic cancer. And I would hope, as I know that many of my colleagues across the country are sending him well wishes and acknowledging the service that he has provided. And again, he is currently the congressman from Georgia. He's been serving in the 5th District of Georgia since the 80s. I think he replaced Julian Bond, I think, if I remember correctly. And he's currently serving as the Senior Chief Deputy Whip for the Democratic Party and leadership in the House. He's a member of the House Ways and Means Committee, chairman for the Subcommittee on Oversight. Whenever you hear of major issues, you see Congressman John Lewis taking the upper hand and being a voice for the people. And that's what I love about him and respect him for. He has been acknowledged and respected for his service and his dedication to our fellow human beings for years. And I hope that he's able to fight this. He is now 79 years old and again, has had a wonderful record of service. Will be 80 if the Lord says the same in February. So I would like for us to send him these well wishes and let him know that we recognize and thank him for his service. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We could pass this out. Would that be your wish?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion for suspension of the rules? Favorable report?
So moved.
Motion and a second. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you, Ms. Amobian, and we'll pass that out this evening, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
What's that? Budget. Water pollution control bond. Yeah. It's all water pollution control.
Does the capital budget start after?
Now you're making him work so he can speak. But there ain't nothing to speak about. Parks. That's the other one. You only ought to. Four times a year. Serious.